to share this program. It's in partnership with 3 phenomenal resources. With a partnership with Donna Pickering of Southwest Ontario Military Family Resource Centre, the Halifax Region Military Family Resource Centre, and True Patriot Love Foundation. So the 3 of us got together. Donna Pickering was a student in one of my classes on how to adapt a live presentation to an interactive virtual audience. And she designed this presentation, which she has further improved over the years. And so we are partnering with her to bring you this wealth of information all about for families of new recruits. So I will pass it over to you, Donna, and just let me know when you want me to change the slides.
Perfect. So hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you, and we're excited to host this virtual program, which is held in partnership, like Margaret said, with Halifax MFRC, Southwestern Ontario MFRC, and the True Patriot Love Foundation. So before we get into the meat of the program, I think Margaret's going to explain this slide a little bit before I start into the meat of the program. Margaret?
Absolutely. So there's a few tools that you're going to be seeing throughout the session. The first part is how to mute and unmute your microphone. So here's a picture on the right of the participant panel, and you'll see all your names will be on the right-hand side. And to the right of your names, there's a little tiny icon. It's really small on this picture, and it's where the microphone. So if you click on the microphone once, you can mute your microphone, and if you click on it again, you can unmute your microphone. So if you want to try that, just so that we can make sure that everybody knows how to mute and unmute, that would be great. We do try to encourage people not to be muted during the session because we do like to hear your questions and your thoughts. However, if there's dogs barking or noise in the background, we will ask you to mute your microphone. Also, on the right-hand side of your screen, you will find an opportunity to raise your hand. So if you click on the little gray hand underneath your name about halfway down, that's how you raise your hand. Give it a try. Raise your hand. Just want to make sure you know. There you go. I've got Nancy's hand, Rajesh. I feel like Romper Room, Joanna. Try raising your hand, Donna. Al, if you can raise your hand. On the right-hand side, it's a picture of a little hand near the green check and the red X. Can you hear me, Al? Stacey, if you click on your hand, I just want to make sure you've got it there. Great. Okay. And to the right of the hand, you're going to see a green check and a red X. And with the green check and the red X, we may ask you a yes or no question. So is this your first time on a virtual classroom? Give me a green check for yes or a red X for no. Nancy, you've been on a virtual classroom before. Stacy, it's your first time. Good. Joannie, it's your first time. Oh, it's not. Joannie, when have you been in a virtual classroom before? Joanna, you're muted?
It is.
It's your first time?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. I hope it's not your last time. Al, are you able to find the tools, the green check and the red X? Underneath your names, you'll see a hand, a picture of a hand, a green check. It's on the right-hand side of your participant panel. See a little happy face with sunglasses? All right, good. So just if you click on that, Al, then you'll be able to access those tools. And finally, we ask you to look at the little happy face at the end of that line and give me your coffee cup. If you click on the coffee cup, anytime you want to go away from the session for a moment, if the doorbell rings or you win $1 million and you need to go pick it up or something, just put your coffee cup up so we know you've stepped away and that you're not having IT issues. Excellent. Okay, so some best practices on virtual outreach. Make sure if you turn off your email and other distractions, please put up your coffee cup when you leave if you have to go somewhere. and we're so excited to have you here tonight, and we hope that you participate in our discussions, and we will ask for feedback at the end of the session. Over to you, Donna.
Thank you, Margaret. So welcome to our online virtual information session for families of new recruits. We started with a tour of the tools in the virtual classroom, and we'll continue with introductions of your presenter and producer and Nancy from our Halifax MFRC. Then we'll get to know each of you. Our goal by the end of this session is to have answers to common questions about basic training and its impact on recruits and their families, feel reassured that you are not alone, and know a little bit more about the Military Family Resource Center and our programs and services. Then we will wrap up with questions, comments, and we'll ask you to fill in an evaluation so that we can continually improve the sessions. So it is an action-packed evening. Let's get started. So welcome, everyone. My name is Donna Pickering, and I am the Program Coordinator for the Southwestern Ontario Military Family Resource Centre, formerly known as London, Hamilton Satellite Office. And I've worked there for the past 10 years. And for the past 7 years, I've added working with new families such as yourselves, which has been a rewarding and a very fulfilling part of my responsibilities. I've designed this program, and as Margaret mentioned, has increased and decreased parts of it from time to time since we've started. And I'm also a very proud military spouse and mom. And Margaret.
Yes, thank you so much, Donna. My name is Margot Mackenzie. I am a military spouse with 26 years of experience, 12 postings, and more than 200 weeks of family separation, so I get it. I love this military lifestyle. It has some challenges, but overall, it's all wonderful. It's really a lot of great opportunities. I will be the producer for tonight's session, which means that I'm behind the scenes. I'm helping you with audio and various other parts of the class. And I train and develop virtual programming across the country and out of country as well. I'm located in Germany. So I'd also like to introduce to you the coordinator from Halifax, who is joining us tonight as well. So you have a lot of resources. Nancy, over to you.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Nancy Galante, and I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia. My role at the MFRC, as you can see from the screen, is doing welcome and community integration. So I reach out to people before, during, and after when they move. But also part of it, at the very beginning of when we meet our families, is when they join BASIC. So I also go to the recruiting centers, and I meet the families on the day that the member gets enrolled and try to connect with them as well. So I am also a former member of the military, former military spouse, and working at the MFRC. So I'm really excited to meet all you and hear all your thoughts tonight, and I think it's going to be a great program.
And also Nancy is designed, she's also taken the course, and she's designed a Welcome to Halifax. So if you know anybody who's interested in moving to Halifax or who will be moving to Halifax, she's your go-to person. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. The program's tomorrow night if you want to.
We can share that in the after-session email if you like. All right. So one wonderful thing about being part of the military is that our recruits are extremely special to us, of course. So what I'd like you to do is grab your pointer, which is the big arrow in the top left-hand side of your screen. It's to the left of the capital T. Grab your pointer and claim a row. Now, if you're joining us on a cell phone, you will not be able to use the pointers, which is no problem. Just use the chat to write what is one great thing about your recruit. So, again, grab your pointer on the top left-hand side of your screen, which is the big, thick gray arrow. You click on that arrow and then click on the board. Try it. There you go. I've got Nancy's. Good. Casey, are you able to get your arrow? So Al, the arrow's on the top left-hand side of the screen. Got Al, good. So grab, put your pointer underneath where the Halifax one is so that it's right underneath mine. If you can bring it to the left, Al, that would be great. There we go. And choose a row. And then use your text tool to write one great thing about your recruit. The text tool is the big capital T. If you click on the T and then click under the one great thing about your recruit, you'll be able to write what you're thinking. And Monica, your son is devoted and determined. Very good. I'll write that down. Anybody else want to put in their chat about their recruit, their spouse, or their family member who is joining? Excited and nervous of all the potential. Very good. You can also just pipe up and speak to me as well. What is one great thing about your recruit? Determined. Yeah, determined seems to be coming up a fair bit. There we go. Any other comments? Al, what about you?
Oh, he put lucky enough to get a job offer.
Oh, yes, that's so true, isn't it, in this day and age?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Stacy, if you can just click away so we can see what you've written. So what are some other traits that you would see about your recruit? Just put them in the chat or speak them out loud. If you're muted, please unmute so you can tell me. I'll give you another minute. And we'll continue. Present. What does that mean, present?
What does it mean, present? They showed up.
Showed up. Okay.
You'd be surprised.
That's right. Some people may get the application and then decide not to. So you're right. That's half the battle right there. Many recruits have young families as well and parents that love and miss them. That's really tough for sure. Okay, so we do see that there are a number of great traits. Over to you, Donna.
Monica said, Monica is my soon-to-be mother. Brittany said, Monica is my soon-to-be mother-in-law and took both of my ideas. But he is also honest and excited. That's great. Anyone else with a great thing about their recruit?
Hi there, I'm Rajeshri. I would say my son has found his dream job. He had been trying for this for a while and had been determined to join the military from very early age.
Thank you, Registry. That's great.
So determined. Oh my goodness. And it's a dream job. So much, they do so much great training, and it's really wonderful for sure. And Kyra Lynn is a recruit herself, and she's very excited. And Kyra Lynn, when will you be joining? When will you be having recruit training? Put that in the chat.
She said she's a recruit and she's excited.
Excellent. Okay. So
All right, where are you in your journey? So before I begin with this slide, I just wanted to point out that the information that I'm providing is based on my own experiences, what I have learned from new recruits and their families, and information gathered from different resources. Sometimes we may not understand all of the techniques used in basic training, but there is a method to what we might consider madness. So on this slide, you'll see a path. Each box represents 1 week of basic training. Use your pointer, the arrow on the top left-hand side of your screen, to show us which week your recruit is in right now. So if everybody could do that.
And if you cannot access your pointer because you're joining us on a cell phone or for any other reason, just let us know in the chat or speak to us. Tell us what week is your person, your recruit. Some may not have started yet. Some may have just finished. On a command, you're in week 7. Wow, that's great. Congratulations, you're halfway there.
And it looks like Joanna's in week 6 or 7.
Right. Okay, and I know that we have a number that have not quite started yet. Kyra Lynn is at the beginning here. I'll put your live here.
I'm Rajeshri here. He's in week 8.
Week 8. Perfect.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't find the pointer, so I have to keep talking.
I like hearing your voice. No worries.
Thank you.
And Brittany said that her loved one's in week 7, and she just visited him. Excellent.
And sometimes when you visit during the recruit training, sometimes it happens that the visiting privileges are revoked. So you were lucky. Did you get to see him, Brittany, or her?
Yep, I was lucky enough to get to see him for the whole weekend. He got a leave pass, and we spent it in Montreal.
Excellent.
Brittany!
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, if there's anybody who wants to complain, it's my fault that you're beyond week 1.
Why? Why is it your fault?
So, next, if everyone can use their text tool, which is the capital letter T, up in the left-hand corner, write some things on the path on the appropriate week that have occurred. For example, I remember it was a big deal for my son when he got his first weekend pass, which was during his basic training experience. It was around week 5. So if you could type something in.
Again, speak or use your chat.
I know when I was doing basic, the first week was the longest and the shortest week altogether.
This week was the longest and the shortest. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, let's have a look at some of the step-by-steps that we usually go through.
Yes.
Donna?
So we've spoken about some points, and now let's review. So usually their haircuts are the first week. Uniforms are usually issued quite soon, and this happens fairly soon after their arrival in Saint Jean. And these are the greens that are issued to them. Their DEU, or their distinctive environmental uniform, is usually given to them and fitted between week 3 or 4. And their graduation practice, which we'll be talking about a little later in the presentation. This usually begins around week 7 to 9. Friday night movies, Canucks and Subway, these privileges start around week 4 or 5, depending upon which basic training program you were in. And I just want to mention that the basic training program has just recently changed from 12 weeks to 10 weeks for the regular BMQ, and from 12 weeks from 14 weeks for the BMOQ, which is the basic military officer training. So that's just recently changed, and actually the first week of this was last week where they changed the actual length. So once again, Friday night movies, Canics and Subway. These privileges start around week 4. The obstacle course or the confidence course is usually done 3 times during training and again at Farnham. Pool PT is usually during the first week or the second week, and it usually happens once per week, and there will be a swim test at the end. There's usually a trip to the War Museum in Ottawa sometime during the basic training process. And there's also weapons training. Everyone seems to look forward to getting a weapon, and they're required to keep it with them at all times. Leaving it behind can result in punishment. There will be testing, and they must pass weapons training in order to go to Farnham. So usually, like I said before, the actual weeks have changed. The first weekend pass is usually, in the old system, it was usually week 5, but in the new system, it could be week 3. So, and this is usually quite exciting, but never guaranteed. Boston Pizza is the place to be on a free weekend. You usually find a lot of recruits there on the weekends. And first aid training is another crucial course. It must not, recruits must not miss a class and must pass this course. And there is a loss of communication.
Donna, when is first aid training usually?
I'm not exactly sure. I can find out for you after the course and send that information.
Wonderful.
There is a loss of communication during basic training, and expect this to happen during free time. Recruits tend to go to their, so when there is a loss of communication, the recruits tend to go to their own bed space. They chat with family and friends back home rather than bonding with each other. When they lose communication, they are forced to talk to each other, spend time with each other, and get to know their fellow recruits. Loss of communication can happen at any time during this training period. Any questions?
Brittany, so your person is just in the middle of it, and you just got back. Have you ever had to lose communication?
Oh yeah, we've lost communication 3 or 4 times now. Sometimes just a day, other times it's a week.
Wow. And how is that for you? You must find that.
No, we're both on the same webinar.
It can be rough. I got lucky enough that Monica's a great mother-in-law, so I get to talk to them a lot, and just a reminder that I still have part of them here, kind of thing.
Wonderful. That's good to have support. So important, eh, Donna?
Absolutely. And just keep supporting him while he's going through this process.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a big change. We are, he's in the Navy is what was his choice, so it'll either be BC or Halifax, and that's kind of far from Kitchener, Ontario, so it's a new experience.
Thank you.
For sure.
Any other questions or comments? No.
Okay.
So another question that has come up quite often is, will my recruit have time during stat holidays to come home? And basically the answer is no. If your recruit has been home for a visit, please put your hand up. Anyone?
No recruits have been home for a visit.
No.
Joanna, has your recruit been home?
No, he just had his first weekend off last weekend, but we're going down this weekend to see him.
Nice.
Excellent. So in my experience, other than the Christmas break, which is approximately 3 weeks, I am only aware of one stat holiday which is acknowledged, and that's Thanksgiving Monday. Even when they get a weekend pass, before you talk to your recruit about coming home for a weekend, here are a few things you might want to consider. First, you might want to consider travel time. Also, any travel over 500 kilometers requires special permission. For this reason, it is often more beneficial for the family to travel to St. John or Montreal for weekend visits. This allows more quality time for visiting. If you do visit, you might also want to consider that to be on the safe side, the recruit should return to the school well before the expected curfew. If they are in the long lineup to get back in to St. Jean and they aren't actually signed in at curfew, they could be considered late. Also, be aware that there is always a risk when traveling to St. Jean that a much anticipated weekend pass could be canceled at the very last minute, regardless of any plans made. So even if you go, you may not be able to see your recruit. And yes, it can be difficult for the recruit to return to the school after spending time at home. We have heard many times for all types of family separations, saying goodbye the second time can be worse than the first. The weekends that they spend with their fellow recruits allows them to bond and even to let loose a bit. Any questions?
So Christmas is 3 weeks then usually?
Yes.
That must be really tough to go back after Christmas, I would think.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. And so Joanna, so then when you go to visit him next weekend, you may not get to see him. There's that possibility, right?
Well, we have family there, so they're going to pick him up Friday. So I guess if they don't pick him up Friday, we're not going down Saturday.
Oh, nice that you have family there to assist. Yeah. That's great.
That is great.
That's what's so important is the support of our community, of our family. And sometimes it's a military family, sometimes it's friends. It's the support. Wonderful. Okay, right. So no questions. We'll move on to the next question.
Oh, sorry. So what happens at Farnham? And this is a question that often comes up quite a lot with families. The recruits spend time at Farnham twice during the last few weeks. The first time is approximately 2 to 3 days. The next time is usually 5 days, then a weekend and another 5 days. This may have changed. This may have changed with the shortened schedule from 12 to 10 weeks, which is new as of April 1st. So this is, I'm talking about the old system, but it has changed. And what I've heard recently is
they
that
get to sleep for 2 hours in 24.
Oh, excuse
yes.
me?
For like 3 days.
Monica, I'm going to mute your microphone. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, so you were saying about the sleep deprivation?
Yes. During that time in Farnham, they will experience sleep deprivation, face the elements, sometimes sleep outside, and sometimes in tents. There will be simulated enemy attacks, civilian actors with pleas for help, and they will be required to use both defensive and offensive maneuvers. And yes, actors are brought in to make the scenarios as realistic as possible. The recruits will be eating rations and won't always have hot meals. They are closely monitored for physical and emotional effects, as safety is always a priority in operations. Farnham teaches them teamwork, to trust, watch each other's backs, bonding, and responsibility to themselves and each other. Many soldiers have said that this was the best part of their basic training experience. It's an opportunity to practice what they've learned in a semi-realistic environment. Recruits were allowed their first weekend pass after their first trip to Farnham, but during the next period at Farnham, weekends were spent confined to base to rest, first of all for the next days at Farnham, and then the next one resting for graduation preparations. Even after their first trip to Farnham, they are very tired and not very sociable. Not the best weekend to visit at all. Any questions about Farnham? And Farnham now is actually shorter because of the new system that they've put in place. From what I've heard, they actually have cut out a week, so I'm assuming they're only there for a week now with the 10-week system. Does anybody have information on with the shorter system, how long it is now that they go to Farnham? Al, are you aware of that? Rasher, yes.
Well, my son on his 7th week, which was last week, He was on that field training. I'm not sure of this name. I just learned it now, but I think I called it field training. Hearing from him, he was there for I think 4 days,
Okay.
Monday to Thursday. I think Friday I spoke to him because I was cut off from him for those 4 or 5 days. Yeah, so on Friday I spoke to him, so he was there between Monday to Thursday, and I have not heard that he will be going back there again. I don't know, either he didn't share with me or probably he will not. I'm not too sure about that.
Ah,
Thank you.
okay.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I'm not too privileged on the information with regards to the Farnham training.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Stacy might be able to expand on that a bit, but I probably doubt it. However, I think it has been reduced somewhat in training length, but to what extent, I'm not entirely sure.
The new
Thank you, Al.
shorter session is quite a bit new.
Mm-hmm.
The shorter session in Farnham is definitely new, and it removes some of the parts of the training which will take place within Garrison at CFLRS as opposed to in the field.
So yeah, that's about it. The only thing I can probably contribute to this is you're gonna have a comms blackout. It's just a thing that happens. They're not gonna bring their cell phones out. It's going to be 4 to 5 days, period. What they do in the field based on the new the new training plan is not known to me, unfortunately. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Yeah, there's a bit of sleep deprivation. Their sleep deprivation only lasts, I know it says 2 or 3 days. It's only about 36 hours. So that's pretty much you're not going to sleep, period. And you're just learning about stability ops, 36 hours. Yeah. You're going to learn about stability ops. You're going to learn about the basic fundamentals of soldiering within a section level patrol or a group of about 8 people. You're going to learn this within a forward operating base context, and it's usually fun for the guys, right? We have an entire crew in the Farnham training area whose sole purpose is to provide high level training to the recruits with this regard. It's a little stressful for some because it's their first time sleeping outside and away from family and such. But for the most part, again, they're closely monitored, especially for the physical aspects for summer and winter, hypothermia or heat exhaustion. But this is the place where they're going to learn teamwork. This is the place where they're actually going to learn the esprit de corps and that fundamentals of soldiering. So I guess I'll just put that in there.
Thank you, Garrett.
Must really look forward to the Farnham then. What a great opportunity to learn.
That wasn't me. That wasn't Garrett. I'm not sure who that was.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh, Stacy.
Yeah, again, kind of a pseudonym. I apologize, but
Oh no, they're fine. Rajashri, did you have a question?
No, I'm good. I'm not maybe will they be having another training like same? Although he has finished 3 days, 4 days there?
It's very possible that they will have another one, yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Stacy and Al, for your input. We really appreciate that, and some great points about the esprit de corps, and that they are closely monitored, and the most they will have in deprivation is 36 hours, roughly.
ish.
Thank you.
Ish, that's right.
So now we're going to talk about graduation, which is a huge milestone to celebrate and something you don't want to miss if at all possible. So we do highly recommend that families actually go to the graduation ceremony and bring Kleenex for sure, because it's very emotional. Recruits are allowed to visit with family the night before, but must check back at the school by curfew. Once again, the evening pass is not guaranteed. Where to stay and where to eat. I have a few suggestions and we'll send them out to everyone tomorrow in the after session email. If you're listening to the recording, please email me at donna.pickering@forces.gc.ca if you'd like the information. Like I said, I suggest that you bring Kleenex to the graduation ceremony. It's very emotional. The pride you feel, the precision of the drills, it's quite something to see. Your recruit has transformed into a disciplined soldier full of pride and confidence, and now you can finally call them a soldier. Pay attention to the jumbotron as you will see your soldier's picture across the screen. You will have the opportunity to order graduation pictures and a video afterwards, and I will provide contact information following this session. Immediately after graduation, you will be invited to attend a reception where you will have the opportunity to meet some of your soldiers' friends and instructors. Don't forget your camera. Following the reception, you will have 4 to 5 hours to visit with your soldier, but they must return to the school by curfew. It's usually by 10 p.m. There are no goodbyes the next morning, so make the best of your time after graduation. Soldiers are usually transported to a base somewhere in Canada. There are some exceptions. They are now part of PAT Platoon, which is the personnel awaiting training time, which can vary from weeks to more than a year, depending on the trade and when the next segment of training begins. Your soldier will not have a permanent posting until trades training is completed. Most live in shacks or barracks until that time. Once they receive their first posting, plans for their move will begin and their career begins. Everyone looking forward to graduation? Any questions?
Graduation will be quite a milestone. I find it interesting, though, that you only get to visit for 4 to 5 hours, and then you don't get to see them the next day at all. They're gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Nancy, tell me about graduation for your recruit.
Graduation is it's one of those things. Even the way that you hear our national anthem sounds different after you've got a proud soldier that's graduating and you've known how much they've accomplished. So it's a really special day.
One big blur, you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
That was me when I was the recruit. But you look back with fond memories, and you talk about putting getting boot polish on the uniform by accident. How are you going to fix it? But it's all it's a blur, but it's exciting and awesome.
So Brittany said that after graduation, are they allowed to come home? He was told that he has to report for school on a certain day, but it's a week or so later. Do you want to answer that, Donna?
There are certain exceptions. Most of the guys actually go to their training the next day, but like I said, there are certain exceptions.
And Stacy Pseudonym, do you have anything to add on that?
No, you covered it. In the vast majority of cases, they're either going to go to a bus to the airport and/or their next reporting unit. But there are some people who are in certain circumstances who will actually travel home with their spouses to do like on-the-job training at a specific unit or what have you. Those are actually quite unique cases. So for, let's say, the 90% solution, they're going to get on a bus, they're going to get on a plane, they're going to report to their next unit, which is wherever they're probably going to get posted or wherever their school of choice is.
Okay,
thank you.
I have a question here. This is Rajeshri again.
Yes.
When do we get to know about the graduation date? Do we get a heads up few weeks back, prior?
Your loved one should know a couple weeks before the graduation.
Okay.
And he should be able to tell you.
Okay, because we'll have to make arrangements for bookings and traveling from Toronto down there. Yeah, so 2 weeks should be good.
And the day of the week is the same, right? The graduation is always on the
Thursday.
Mm-hmm. So we get to see him only on Thursday. the 4 or 5 hours to visit.
No, you'll get, yep, you got it.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you can actually see them the day before the graduation as well. So
Okay.
you can see them for a few hours that day.
So Wednesday night and Thursday.
That's right.
Okay, we'll make our arrangements likewise. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other points, questions before we move on?
Yep, did that answer your question?
Yeah, to answer that question and expand on what Stacy said, I just posted a link to the Recruit Leadership Training School website. It will show you both the graduation ceremonies and also information for visitors. So if you would like to visit that site, it should be able to answer most of your basic questions. But if you have other questions beyond that, your best bet is to talk to your son or daughter.
Thank you, Al.
We'll put this site in the after-session email. Thank you so much for that, Al.
So moving right along. Additional points of interest.
Well, there is one more question.
Oh, sorry.
So Brittany is asking, once he's in training for school, is he required to live on a base, or am I able to live with him while he goes to school? It's a good question for our Stacy pseudonym.
Can somebody answer that?
From what I can remember, and sorry, this is not the 100% solution that some of you are looking for. Unfortunately, yes, he's going to have to live on the base, unless it's a pretty prolonged course. We're talking about a year in length. Usually that's going to be detailed to you in great detail when you get your posting message, and you're going to have a bunch of clerks and everything else that can answer your question. But for the most part, if you're really spending your hopes on living with them for the training, that probably won't happen until they're qualified and they get posted proper to their units. Sorry.
I was just going to add, when people are coming to Halifax, Halifax is often their very first posting. Because they haven't passed their course yet, they haven't become qualified in their trade yet, the move of the family is not authorized yet. So they have to pass their course first before the family are be able to move all their things over there, and that's why they're staying on base and they're just focusing on their training for that period of time.
If you're looking for a guy, Al probably has a pretty good answer. So if Al wants to chime in, he's probably the guy to ask with regards to this.
Yeah, there's been a few changes recently with regards to Canadian Armed Forces relocation policies. They basically pertain to members who are already serving and already occupation qualified. However, they have made some inroads into benefits for personnel who are not qualified. However, they still haven't got past the aspect of relocating families together where an individual joins the Canadian Armed Forces into an occupation that has an extended training program. So at the end of the day, once you join the CAF regular force, you're probably not going to be able to relocate your family to your training location or to any other location until after you've completed your initial occupation training.
Thank you, Al.
We're extremely grateful to have you and pseudonym Stacy on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
So, continuing on, we're going to talk about additional points of interest. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what happens if my recruit becomes sick or injured during basic training. And it's not the end of the world. When this happens, it can be discouraging and worrisome. However, the recruit will recover and then return to training. Depending on how much time is missed, they will either return to their original platoon or may have to wait until a new platoon catches up to where the recruit left off, and then they will continue with that new platoon. It's not something that anyone wants to see happen, but there is a remedy for the situation. The warrior platoon. The warrior platoon is when a recruit who struggles to meet the physical requirements, and they're placed in a new platoon called the warrior platoon. In this platoon, they're given extra attention to bring them up to par with the requirements, and they also receive nutrition counseling. Once they meet the requirements, they will then join another platoon, starting where they left off. It's sometimes common for recruits to become discouraged from time to time. The most common times are during the first couple of weeks when they are adjusting to this new routine and lifestyle, and again around the halfway point and the time of their first weekend pass, when they have experienced some freedom. If they can hang in a bit longer, this is also the point where they usually notice a little more respect is coming their way. They've made it this far, and that is recognized. You may receive some phone calls where they are unsure of their choice and may be considering throwing in the towel. Bad days happen. Family can encourage and point out the positive in what they have accomplished thus far and what's to come. In most cases, the next day will be better and the recruit will be glad they've persevered. And finally, sending care packages. As the little picture notes, sometimes it means push-ups. But people do send care packages, and it's common and acceptable to the recruits. Packages should be about the size of a shoebox, wrapped in plain brown paper. The contents of the package should be listed in one corner, and of course your return address. You will need your recruit service number, and you will address it to Private R. John Smith. The R stands for recruit. It is good practice when sending treats to your recruit to include enough for the whole group and to share with others. Most mail is open in front of their peers, and they can be expected to share. Any comments about that? Al or Stacy? Or Nancy?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll chime in just for a second.
Okay.
Sick or injured, absolutely. That's it bums everybody out, right? And just getting moved away from people that they find to be family is going to be discouraging. So it's extra important that their family or support structure back home actually supports them in a meaningful career, right? The warrior platoon, or the reintegration platoon, is absolutely fantastic. The PSP staff is absolutely there to get them where they need to be, either with physiotherapy or more physical training if they fail to meet the physical standard. So but of course it's not training, right? So people definitely want to move away from that to get with the platoons. What can I say? It is an absolute culture shock. An absolute culture shock. You're talking different, you're walking different, you're being treated with more authority than probably anyone has ever spoken to you in your life before. But it's not so much that they're going to get more respect. They will never be given more respect during the course. They will simply learn how to cope and adapt much better. They'll get this big high once they realize how to walk, how to talk. It seems like they've just learned how to people again. But in essence, it's just them learning the basic skills that a soldier will learn. Those care packages, absolutely. And it's not push-ups, it's earth downs. We don't push up, we push the earth down. And that in itself is a sense of morale, because one, they're earning it, and we have a good little laugh about it as well. It's most certainly not a punishment, and it's good to see them actually meet a goal to get a prize, right? Like the whole course is. And yeah, that's about it. Just keep encouraging your recruit, or keep yourself moving. It's not an option to quit. It isn't. It's a choice, yes, fine, but as soon as you make it an actual option in your head, most people will take the easy way out to make whatever pain they're feeling stop, instead of just pushing through it like they ought to. So that's all I'll add. Hopefully that helps.
Not an option to quit.
Thank you.
I like that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Great points.
We have a question here from Roxy Ross. She was wondering, where do we stay during graduation? Where are places to stay?
Well, I will be sending you that information after this session in an email. There's quite a few different hotels that are close to the base. So if you want to send me an email, I can send that information on to you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And Nancy posted a little note saying the smallest thing you send them will do wonders for their morale. Good point, Nancy. Any other comments? Okay. Moving right along. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what else your local MFRC, what do they do? So if you're not from the Southwestern Ontario area, you can check with your local MFRC programs and services available near you on the CAF Connection website. MFRCs are, as a family member of a new recruit, you're now also part of the extended military family. We hope you make a habit of connecting to your new local Military Family Resource Center, or MFRC, and these centers are located, like I said, across the country wherever you are posted or living. MFRC services are geared to the individuals and communities that they serve, so that you will find programming changes with each posting. Military Family Resource Centers are governed by military families for military families. They understand the fundamentals of the lifestyle and follow a collective mandate to provide programs and services that enhance the quality of life for military families. MFRCs help the military achieve operational missions by assisting their families should emergencies arise and provide peace of mind to the deployed member who can focus on the mission at hand. MFRCs offer a broad range of programs and services that address the unique lifestyle challenges. For example, relocation, deployment, and risk, social and mental wellness. MFRCs provide a safe and enriching place for military families to go. They are connected to community needs, which help strengthen and build resiliency, and they're managed by professional staff and volunteers across the country. Has everyone had the opportunity to explore the CAF Connection website to see the different group and individual services that MFRCs offer?
No, I haven't.
If you have, okay. If you have, if anybody has, please put a green check on the side panel. Anybody?
Red X if you have not seen the CAF Connection website. So that is the website that the Military Family Resource Center has a lot of information on.
So basically, when you have time, please check this out. And we're going to post that on the next slide.
I'm going to share it with you right now just so you can see what it's all about and how to connect with it. One moment, please. There we go. So I'm going to share my web browser with you at this point so that you can have an opportunity to see the CAF Connection website. So your screen may go blue for just one moment while I'm sharing my web browser. And if you want to continue to chat, if you bring your mouse right up to the very middle of the screen, as high as it will go, you can see the chat panel and the participant panel where you can continue to unmute if you need to speak. So this is cafconnection.ca. There's no S at the end of it. It's www.cafconnection.ca. And here under your community, you have a list of all the different MFRCs across the country and in Europe and United States. So you would pick your area and you would click on your area of interest. And then that local area would come up with the different opportunities for children's, for adult programming on deployment and fitness. So this is a wealth of resources for support for our military members. If you're experiencing a deployment, there are resources here. If you're new to an area, there's a lot of great information on the cafconnection.ca, and we'll send you this in the after-session email. I'm going to stop sharing my website. And we're going to come back to the classroom.
Any questions about MFRCs in general?
And we're very good at using acronyms in the military. So MFRC stands for Military Family Resource Center. And Donna's is the Southwestern Ontario Military Family Resource Center. Whoa, MFRC for acronyms, but you'll get used to acronyms for sure.
So for those that are on today from my area, I'm just going to go through this really quickly. Basically, what it says there is our mission is to enhance the quality of life of military families across Southwestern Ontario. We are capable and connected. We connect families by referral to relevant community resources geared to their specific needs and situations. And we connect family members to each other through our programs, social events, live and virtual workshops. You can call me, email me, or visit me in person. Like Margaret showed you briefly, you can check out the calfconnection.ca website. You can friend us on Facebook. And once again, connect with your local MFRC for programs and services close to your home.
You are not alone. You are not alone in the military. We are one huge family, coast to coast and out of country. Danielle, would these guys be able to tell me where we will go after my husband leaves BMQ? I think not. I think he has to get that information from his BMQ, from his chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct, Al?
It for the most part would depend on what their assigned occupation is, and whether or not there are any family circumstances involved.
Okay. And the Military Family Resource Center will not be giving any information. They don't have the information of where your husband will be going to.
No.
You're welcome, Danielle. It's a pleasure. Great question.
And here are some additional resources for you to have. Please, like I said before, please check with your local Military Family Resource Center for programming, resources, and support available near you. Like I said before, if you are in Southwestern Ontario, here is my contact information. And also, if you are in the Nova Scotia area or Halifax area, Nancy can help you with the information. Please check out the CAF Connection website to find an MFRC close to you again. And
what is your email?
I'm just typing it now.
Wonderful.
Perfect. And also check out the basic up videos that we mentioned before, which are found on YouTube. Also the Canadian Forces Leadership and Recruit School site, which includes a page for visitors, as Al mentioned and posted on the slide, is right there. But I will actually be sending this to you after this session in an email. And once again, like Margaret said, you are not alone.
Yeah. There is a whole community to support. So always think about reaching out, because it's not easy to do life alone. Excellent. Okay.
So we've covered a lot of information so far, and we're not sure if you're feeling overloaded or happy. Please click on the emoticon tool. You will find it to the right of the red X in your participant panel. If you click on the drop-down menu, you will find a selection of emoticons. Please find the emoticon to let us know how you're feeling right now. If everybody could do that, Nancy's happy.
There we go. Stacy, good. So you'll see the emoticon is the little happy face, or there's a coffee cup there sometimes. You can have a bright idea. They're just little pictures. Danielle, I like your sunglasses. Good. Al, you found it? Excellent. Wonderful. Monica, well done. Okay.
Perfect. So before I wrap things up for this evening, does anyone have any questions or comments? Final thoughts? Please think of one aha moment or one thing that you learned from this presentation and give me a green check when you are ready to share. Anyone?
I have a couple questions if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was late for this one, so I apologize. Is there going to be another? Was my first question.
We'll have to see.
Okay. And the second question is how do you know of how many treats or whatnot to send in, and do we have to worry about allergies when mailing in treats?
Great question.
Yeah. I think to be honest, go ahead, Margaret.
I was just going to say, if you put the contents on, that will help with the allergies question, so that
okay.
You may not want to send anything with peanuts because that is a known allergy, but I think anything else you may want to add just the contents. Go ahead.
Is that for your spouse?
Yes.
Okay, how fast can he eat?
I don't know if he wants any treats, but I know because he's been watching his weight while he's been there. But
okay,
it would be nice to say.
Yeah, sorry. The reason why I'm asking is maybe on the most generous of days, your instructors will allow them to open the box, divvy up to people, be like, I'll be back in 2 minutes, and I hope it's all gone. Because unfortunately, due to the rules and regulations that you're going to face at Canadian Forces Leadership and Recruit School, they're not to bring any food up in the barracks, period.
Oh, okay.
They're allowed cough drops, they're allowed any kind of lozenge, but as far as food like chocolates, we had, anyway, there was an entire pie once, so I would not recommend it because it's really heartbreaking when you have to throw out a bunch of food that loved ones have sent. But unfortunately, no, they can't eat it usually.
That makes my life easier, so that's okay.
So yeah, that's my recommendation. You don't have to worry so much about allergies or anything like that. We don't really care. But if food is on your mind, maybe not a great idea. Maybe like magazines if they're really bored, or books, any kind of memento that they may have forgotten. Pictures of your loved ones are great. But food, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that if I were you. But that's just my opinion.
Your opinion is so valued. That's great.
Exactly.
How fast can you eat? Any other questions? Put in the chat, what did you learn today? Okay, so Garrett has a great question. Once my recruit has finished everything and she gets posted, will families get help financially getting moved?
I think Al should take that question.
Al? You're muted?
Working on it.
Danielle, can you turn your camera off, please?
Yes, once
how do I do that?
That's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, once a member of the Canadian Armed Forces has completed their basic military qualification and moved along to their initial occupation training, once they have qualified for the initial occupation training, they will be entitled to a full cost move at public expense based on the CFIRP relocation directives, and I've posted that in the chat window. So it's basically a no-cost move. to get the family from the enrollment location to where the newly enrolled member is now posted for first-time employment.
So all the resources that you'll need there, Garrett, are in that website.
Awesome. Thank you.
Monica, yeah, it's extremely tough that they may not be home right after graduation. That's not an easy thing.
Any other questions? So thank you for taking the time to join us this evening, and once again, wishing you and your recruit all the best in the future. When you leave, we'll have an evaluation form for you to fill out, and it will pop up in your browser. Please take a few minutes to fill out the evaluation so that we can continually improve these virtual sessions.
Thank you so much. And also, I just wanted to relay thanks to Al and Stacy, pseudonym Stacy, for your extra information. And wouldn't it be great if down the road we can maybe work together and do another presentation with similar topic, and you can have more input on it? I think that would be wonderful. It really takes a village, and this presentation was brought to you today with a partnership of Donna from the Southwestern Ontario MFRC, Nancy from the Halifax MFRC, and True Patriot Love Foundation. So it really takes a village to bring this great information right to the comfort of your home computer. So thank you so much for coming out, and we do hope that you fill out the evaluation form because it really does help us, and you'll see that when you log out of the session. So we will be here if you have any more questions or comments, and if you're ready to leave, just click on the X on the top right-hand side of your screen to exit the session.
Thank you very much. This was really insightful.
Thank
you.
I'm glad you came out. I really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day.
Bye. You too. Bye-bye.